You're listening to a DM podcast.
Welcome to Over the Back Fence. I'm Di Edwards.
I'm Nicola Dale, and we're buddies of nearly 4 decades. And yes, we actually do happen to share a back fence.
We do. We love parties, people, inspirational stories, and honestly, making the most out of life.
So join us as we open our hearts, share our stories, and hear from some of the most inspirational people in the world, and have a laugh along the way.
Yeah.
Enjoy. Hey, it's a Monday, and I'm happy to be back.
Yay!
How are you, Jody?
I'm just so excited about life.
Yay! Well, I tell you what, isn't it good to feel that way? Because as you know, we don't always feel so excited.
Well, that is life, you know. Yeah. Have a happy day, really.
Hey, sing along already?
Yeah.
Hey, that's life. Isn't that a song?
Everything's a song, you know. So you had an interesting experience on the weekend.
I did. You know what I actually went and did? I actually saw a shamanic healer, and it was a 3-hour session, and whoa.
Which to me is like, makes me go, thinking about it.
It was
but wow.
fantastic.
Yeah. Google that, shamanic.
Yeah. You know, and it comes different times in your life, you know, when you feel like you need to see somebody. And for me, it was a mind, body, spirit, soul. And it was, you know, with talking, it was a physical massage. There was sort of like psychic surgery. There was a whole lot of different things in it.
That's trippy, isn't it?
It was trippy.
The
and it was.
And
I came
whoa.
out feeling like $1 million. And I saw my son Harris, and I saw him before the massage. I saw him a few hours later, and he just said, Mum,
you've got 2 heads.
And from my, you know, gorgeous 27-year-old son, he said, Mum, you look so beautiful. I was just like,
that's
wow.
Special.
I know. Yeah. And I said, oh, thank you. And I felt it inside and out, and it was just brilliant.
And you know what, Nico, at the end of the day, we started this podcast because we want to steer our listeners towards self-improvement, to improving who and what they are. And, you know, the very fact you did something like that, it's like out there, but like look at the results. Like, for example, our guest today, Steff, who's quite a famous, amazing out there coach.
Mindset coach.
We're connecting up with her from America. You know, okay, a lot of people say when you use the word manifesting or manifest something, they go, yeah, sure. But again, that's coming back to their self-beliefs and how that tends to hold them back. And that's what you'll hear today. Don't go into the glazed over zone of, manifesting. Listen to why the most successful people in the world sometimes don't even know they're manifesting, but they believe and they become.
Oh, I love that. Woohoo.
Honestly.
And it's,
do I sound like I'm on a mission here?
Yeah,
but I am. I'm on a soapbox about it.
But I think it's good, and I think everyone, it's up to themselves. And when you feel like listening to something or timing or something, and that's when you do things, you know. So it's sort of, I think it's always good just to put it out there. It's like we know what we love. And
green lights, not red lights.
I love that. Green lights, not red lights. I agree. But I'll tell you what, we're really excited having Steffani. She's a mindset coach. She's based in Chicago, in the Windy City, you know, where Oprah is.
And she's been on some amazing shows.
Oh, she has, We're not going to hear all about it, but she's been doing
incredible.
it for
she's
25
really out there.
years. Stay tuned, and you're going to love it. So from shamanic healing to mindset and belief, you know, you'll love it.
Enjoy, guys.
Enjoy. Everybody, we have got Steffani LeFevour in our back fence here.
We do.
So welcome to Sydney, Australia, and you're in Chicago.
Thank you. So happy to be over the pond with you guys.
Oh, great. Over the pond. That's bloody for sure. It's funny, you know, I don't know how often you do your little tips on your Insta, but it just stops me in my tracks. And they're very simple, they're very concise, they're very to the point. But one thing that tends to show up a lot of the time is the Q word manifesting, which a lot of people will sort of say to me, oh, yeah, sure, manifesting. But look, it's a big word, it's an umbrella word. But I want to ask you the question, I think probably the best way to start is, why not manifesting? What's wrong with us? Why can't a lot of people manifest?
I mean, I've been talking about manifesting since way before it was cool or such a buzzword.
Woo-hoo.
So, and I remember when I sort of came out of the closet with manifesting because I used to say, oh, it's, I'm doing leadership work or, positive thinking or mindset. And then I was like, damn it, I'm manifesting. I'm manifesting and I'm not afraid to say it to everyone that will listen. So yeah, why not manifest? I mean, we are all manifesting 24/7 all the time. We are creating more of what we give our energy, attention, and focus to. Are we doing that to our worries and complaints, to our frustrations and criticisms? Or are we doing that to our dreams and our desires and what we want more of? It takes conscious choice, but we are always, always manifesting.
Isn't that great to hear that? Because sometimes you don't realise that it's like, sometimes you sort of think, okay, right now I'm going to manifest. Whereas really we do it in our day-to-day things.
So that's a conscious thing, isn't it?
Yes.
Where it's more subconscious, I think.
And I call that manic manifesting. See, a lot of people go, okay, well, I want to manifest this thing. I want to manifest, good weather on this date because it's important. Or I want to manifest this new job or this new person in my life. It's manic.
Yes, well said.
That's much harder to do. And we don't see results from manic manifesting because 90% of the time we've been a vibrational match for something else. And then 10% of the time we go, oh, please, come on, manifesting it. That doesn't happen. What I teach is foundational manifesting. It's how to peel back all the layers of what's not working and get to the foundation of what we need. Our state plus our story plus our strategy creates our reality. So when we put our state first and we go, how good can I feel every day? How can I manage my mood? How can I prime myself every morning to feel good? Then my morning routine matters. How I feel matters. What I put in my body matters. My state matters first. Then my story next, my thoughts, my mindset, my complaints, my worries, my fears, all of those live in my story. My thoughts have to be aligned with what I do want, or it's manic manifesting. So is my dominant thought around what I want, around that I know I'm worthy and deserving? Is my dominant thought an excited anticipation and expectation that it's going to happen? Then I'm aligned. And then the strategy that I take, like I'm going to do this and I'm going to follow through with that and I'm going to show up the way I said I would, then all the strategy you take start to work. It's like you're skipping down the yellow brick road all of a sudden and it's all happening. But that's because if your state and your story are in the right place, then your strategy works. But what people try to do with manic manifesting is they change the strategy and they change the strategy and they hope and wish and they go, oh, what did she say to do? Oh, she said, place an order to the universe. Okay, I placed an order. How come it's not working? Right? We try one little strategy instead of focusing on the new habits and patterns that need to be there in our state and in our story.
That's so good to hear that, because I think that's exactly what you're saying there, Di, with sort of like, why not manifesting? Because I think people think of a lot the manic manifesting, going, okay, I need it right now, and how do
it didn't
I do
happen.
it?
I'm
That's
so
it.
mad.
Yeah.
Whereas really you go to the basics. And so what sort of tools would you, for people who sort of haven't even really started that, what would you say with sort of starting to get into the state, into that right state, into those steps, Steff?
Your morning routine matters. And don't listen to any of the male gurus who are like, you need to wake up at 5 a.m. and do 20 minutes of this and 20 minutes of that. And that's BS. You need to create a morning routine that's right for you, that feels good. So even if I lay out my morning routine, it won't work for everyone. The same music that lights me up doesn't light you up. A cold plunge that I feel energized by might be off, no way for some people, right? So a morning routine that lights you up and makes you feel connected, makes you feel good. Easy peasy way to manage your state. And looking at how you can maintain your state throughout the day, that matters a lot.
Yeah.
So a morning routine that lights you up, maintaining good feelings and good moods throughout the day, that's the way to start with managing your state. I have a free happy habits checklist that I have 10 happy habits on. It's these happy habits. Look at them. See which ones work for you. Don't follow all 10.
Can I cut in there? Because I did read on one of your tips that you were talking about morning routine. Don't pick up your phone.
Yes, 100%. Picking up your phone.
Because I do that
makes
every
you
morning. I
reactionary.
pick it up.
Don't most people, to be honest?
Yeah.
Really they sort of check the phone is,
Weather, whatever, yeah.
I would say most people do, and most successful people do not.
Wow.
Oh, there's a good tip.
Oh, it's a very good answer. Wow.
They know how to manage their time better.
Yeah.
And they go, that morning time is time for me to be creative, to prime myself, to fill my state, to do things so that my battery is full and I can go out into the world with a full battery.
Oh, bravo to that. It was saying oxygen
but the phone
mask
mightn't
on,
have
isn't
the
it?
battery, yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's good that you can then go back to the calls that you've missed, or you go back to the emails or the things that you've missed once you've
the social
in that
media
state.
posts will still be there. The emails will still be there. I used to say that I was getting on my phone right away because I was looking at the memories and my Facebook because it was an excuse to go on my phone, and so I stopped doing that, and I am much more creative, much more connected to source. I have a much more powerful morning routine, and I'm in a better state to handle the challenges that will come my way with a 12 and 15-year-old. They're going to happen.
That's right.
When I scroll and I look through emails and stuff, and then the challenges come up, I'm like, what now? When I've done things to fill up my battery, I'm like, let's go, kids. I got this. I am so ready, and it's adorable how disrespectful you're being. It's like I'm totally primed. They can't rattle me.
So what do you do when you first wake up then? If you're not getting the claw to the phone, what do you do?
I go big. I begin in gratitude. B-I-G. I begin in gratitude. I think of all the things that I'm grateful for. First and foremost, I write a new story. Like I write about my goals. I write about them as if they've already happened. I focus on what I need to do to maintain a good mood during the day. I focus on what might get in the way and how my higher self can handle that. I set my top 3 priorities and I work through my day. This has been a game changer.
Wow.
Total game changer.
Isn't that great to hear that too? And so you're in Chicago, the city where Oprah did her shows for many, many years. And we've got a connection too with Jewel Chick, Megan Castron, who's a friend of ours. And she's been on our potty. So hi, Megan. We all love the connection here. So tell us your connection with Oprah.
Well, I met Megan we both did this 100-day program, which was a beautiful, I was into the law of attraction. She was into the law of attraction and manifesting. And this was decades ago. I know it was over 15 years ago because at that time I was focused on 3 things. I was focused on getting pregnant because I was 38 and didn't have kids and was like, I think I'm ready now. So I want a happy, healthy, easy pregnancy. I was focused on learning more about the law of attraction, and I was in love with Oprah. I had this vision board of Oprah and Gail and Oprah and Stedman and Oprah, because her magazine had just come out back then. And during the 100-day challenge, I was focused on those things, and I started doing like a morning meditation visualization, and I would picture things with Oprah. I would picture this like getting a call from an Oprah producer and being like, is this Steffani? This is Dave from Harpo Productions. And I'd be like, oh my God, of course, yay. So I would picture these things. And I remember saying, I wouldn't be surprised if I got a call from an Oprah producer tomorrow. I'm in it. I feel it. And the next day, I didn't get a call. And the next day, I didn't get a call. And on day 88 of the 100 days.
Did you ever lose
I answered my call.
Any faith? Did you lose any faith during that period of time that, it's not going to happen? Why did I bother?
I didn't, because the end result being in some way I want to help move humanity forward.
Lucky 88.
88, yeah. And I answered the phone and it was like, hey, it's Chris from Harpo Productions.
Wow.
And I wasn't even that shocked.
Yes.
Because
You're
I
waiting
was
for
sitting
it.
in
Just believing.
expectation.
It's having faith, having the image in your mind. Like, have you ever reading about Jim Carrey, how he sat behind the Hollywood sign? For the listeners, if you haven't, Google it. But he just sat behind the Hollywood sign and said, no, I'm going to be an actor because I believe it, I eat it, I drink it every day. Even wrote himself a check of payment from
for
some
$10
movie
million
studio.
movie rendered or something.
Never lost sight of it. Now, the same thing applied to you with Oprah. So for all of those, skeptics out there, believe me, the most successful people in the world manifest, but they don't deliberately manifest maybe sometimes.
And you can
They're in alignment,
yes.
right?
Yeah, alignment. And you can do it in your own subtle way too. You can put it out there to the universe, or like you're doing, or put it out on videos for people. But some people might just want to do it privately.
Yeah.
And I think that's cool too. You know,
It's many roads to manifesting, I gather.
Wow. And so what an experience. And who else are your role models, Steff?
What's pretty amazing about that is I have had 2 other calls from Harpo producers, because once you manifest something, it can happen again and again, like Megan has, right? She keeps pulling it back into her orbit.
Yes.
That's what's so amazing, because once you believe that can happen, you can create more and more. So I also have a story that I am surrounded by transformational leaders that I always get to meet and get to know and have relationships with, these big transformational leaders. And so I've met them all. Neil Donald Walsh was a mentor and now is a personal friend of mine, and he's writing the foreword to my next book. And Wayne Dyer, I had so many wonderful exchanges with Wayne Dyer back in the day. And Sonia Choquette, I used to take her courses here in Chicago, and I went and had a private reading from her when she used to live here. And then I was teaching something at Mind Valley University in Barcelona about 4 years ago, and she was a student in my class.
Wow.
So it's just amazing how we can put a story out there and start just creating that to continue to come back into our orbit throughout our lives.
I love the way you say, like with Megan, and you're just saying back into our orbit. You're saying Megan was pulling her back into her orbit. You also mentioned in one of your tips on Insta, which I loved, it really resonated with me, was grabbing the tail of a rocket and you're pulling that beautiful, shiny, gorgeous rocket heading to the stars, but you're pulling the rocket back. Now that spoke a thousand
you're holding on to
words
the
to
tail
me.
of the rocket of desire. You let it go and you just hold on to the tail. So a beautiful example of that is I used to work for this boutique personal development firm called Lifebook. And I went to Lifebook, and I'd always done like vision boarding, and I used to teach a class called a life map process. And I went to Lifebook, and it was incredible. It was this really cool experience. And then I heard about Mind Valley, Vishen Lakshani and Mind Valley and A-Fest and all of his incredible Mind Valley programs. And I loved Mind Valley, and I launched these desires for Mind Valley to get big and blow up and serve millions, and Lifebook. I taught Lifebook. They sent me to A-Fest. They sent me to Kuala Lumpur to teach Lifebook at Mind Valley. And I loved, and I wanted the best for Lifebook, and I launched that desire. And I launched both of these desires. And I felt like, and I would literally say to them that I have these 2 rockets of desire, and they're going in different directions. And I'm just holding on to them and wanting them to collaborate and collide. And they did. And now Mind Valley owns Lifebook, and it's all being run through Mind Valley. And like they say to me, you did this. You did this. You held on to both. You always pulled us back and helped us to collaborate. And when one went, no, you went, but if you just, and I'm like, oh, thank you. I like to take credit for things that are good.
Healthy,
that are big and good and serve the world, Thank you. I will take credit for those things. But yeah, I held onto the rockets of both the tails of those rockets and helped create that. So with any rocket of desire, you release it, but you hold on to the tail, because that's that piece of like detachment. You launch the rocket, but you hold on and you see where it takes you.
Oh, isn't that beautiful? Wow. It's a bit like, I think when Oprah was sort of saying too, I think it was with The Color Purple, when she didn't get the role and the whole thing, and then when she surrendered, but there was that piece of hope there, like say hanging on to it, that she never sort of didn't stop believing. But when you let it go to the universe, a bit like maybe the rocket's gone there, but you still got that thread.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. And I love also, Steff, you've got a saying too, it's my time. Tell us about that.
Well, I like the mantra, it's my time, align, align, align. I release the how, allow, allow, allow. Because that gets me out of the attachment of the thing.
I love it.
Of having to win the retreat with Oprah. Or, having to have Lifebook look this way and Mind Valley look this way. It's like you release the how and you allow in the end result. So it's my time, align, align, align. I release the how and allow, allow, allow.
That's a great mantra, that one.
That really is a great mantra. I think we're going to say that again and
It's
again and again.
Beautiful. Actually, I wrote that one down.
I have a better one.
Okay, tell us.
One?
Yeah, give me a better one.
The mantra energy that I'm really finding a lot of success with in the last few years is thank you, I'm ready, more please. Because thank you means we're grateful in advance. Gratitude first and gratitude last and gratitude always. Thank you. I'm ready tells the universe that you're desiring more. And desire is the leading edge. More please is saying I already have some of it. I'm ready for more. So you're not in lack. Like, give me this thing. It sits you in lack that you're without that thing. Thank you. I'm ready. More please. So whenever I'm having a wonderful experience, whenever I'm in a great mood, whenever I am just in a really beautiful, sacred, awe-inspiring, reverence for life space, I say, thank you. I'm ready. More, please.
What a great
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I can say that about champagne. I'm ready for more.
More, please.
Pop that cork.
Bring it on.
Bring those bubbles.
Oh my God, I've got 1,000 questions and we've only got a short period of time. But I am desperate to know about the deadly toxins, top 5.
Yeah.
What's that about?
Explain that to us.
Well, I mean, it's just a different, people aren't expecting it. The deadly toxins are your complaints, your worries, your criticisms, your fears, right? The way that we talk about others in a negative way, your negativity. So those are actual toxins. They beat us down and put our body into a dis-ease state that can create disease. So those are actually toxic. Like, I think people are looking for what can I remove from my house that's toxic? But literally, if you remove those things from your life will be less toxic and you will be in so much more joy. And it takes a lot of work to remove
Can
those
you
things
break the
from your
5
life.
down again? What was the first one?
If I can.
Yeah, good luck with that one.
Complaining is always.
Complaining. Right.
Is the first one.
Right.
Always the first
this is
one.
wrong.
Being the victim.
Yes, right on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Spot on.
Complaining. The next one is excuses.
Right.
The next one is being negative. The next one is criticizing.
Yeah.
We use that just like a complaint and we come after people.
Yeah, right
And
on.
the next one is worrying. They're all so toxic. They're all what we don't want.
So true.
And we're just sitting in that. And so, my Instagram page is aimed at helping people stop those things and focus more on what they want, because that's the norm, unfortunately.
Sadly.
That reel of mine has millions of views because that's a norm. People go, yep, that's me. Okay, now what? Right? But it doesn't have to be. We're in control of this hard drive that is our mind and that creates our life. So we are in control.
So Steff, with that, when someone's sort of in that sort of negative and they're criticizing, they're down, is it to go back to your daily habits? Like how you sort of started it off?
Well, your state matters first, but how do we
it?
change our thoughts? How do we change our thoughts? Everyone wants to know. There's a lot of tools to change our thoughts. I have an entire 21-day course on changing your thoughts, but it's not that hard. Listen, 1, shift into gratitude. So what am I grateful for? It's a great way to change your thought. When you're in a complaint or a worry or a fear or an excuse, what am I grateful for? You can think, so
but
what
a lot
do
of
I
people
want?
would say nothing, life's shit and everything's going wrong and whatever. But someone
gotta
once
get
said
out of
to
their
me,
head and
are
into
you
their heart,
breathing?
because-
Are you breathing?
Yeah, if your lungs are breathing, if your heart is beating, you have things to be grateful for.
Yes.
And I get it. I know people are in a deep, dark well sometimes. So if I can't shift to gratitude, then I would at least do this. The key to changing our thoughts is awareness. Awareness is the master discipline. Because before you even know that you need to work on it, you're unaware. You're absolutely powerless to those things. Now that you add this lens of awareness, now you go, oh, I am aware that I'm complaining. I'm aware that I'm being negative. Okay, now what? Well, once you have awareness, you can change the thought. You can cancel it. So create a cancel process. Cancel, cancel, cancel. Erase, erase, replace. Control, Alt, delete. whatever you want to call it. Stop, cancel, clear. I have nothing to fear, right? You can erase, and replace that thought with something more positive. So if you can't shift to gratitude because you're in a deep, dark well, I know people are, I get it, I've been there. Instead, cancel it and reach for a better feeling thought.
It's such a positive, great thing to hear. And I think it's
beautiful.
really, I like to hear, Steff, that again and again and again.
Yeah, no.
It's sort of like with exercise, and I think with the power of the mind.
Yeah.
And it's sort of, to me, it is a daily thing. And I love the more you hear these things, it reinforces it. And, you know, we all do. And I'm sorry, I think you've just recently lost your dad. And I know,
I did,
you know,
yeah.
and our condolences for that. So you know about grief like we all do. And I know also many years ago you lost your sister. So you've gone through some heavy stuff. And what would you say to some people who are in the depths of grief?
Struggling,
is it
overwhelmed.
just, what would you say, Steff?
You know, I think grief is a really beautiful human process. I mean, I lost my sister when I was 11. I've lost many people, including another very close friend and grandparents and aunts and uncles and my dad. And I have grown a level of what I would call grief intelligence. I know how to feel it and allow it. It's a human process that we have to accept. I like talking about death. I like talking about grief because it's natural. And the more natural we can make it. A good friend of mine passed away about 1.5 years ago, and very quickly, and it was still during COVID things, so I didn't even get to see her. And I came running into the backyard with my kids and all their friends around, sobbing, crying, and they were like, "What?" And I said, "My friend is dying. And I want to share it with you guys because this is what happens in life." And they were like, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "I'm going to go buy a bunch of food for her family, and I'm going to show up on her doorstep. And I'm going to hope I get to see her. And I'm going to write a letter to her in case I can't see her, and they're going to read it to her. And I just want her to know what she meant to me." And, you know, death is heavy, and it's lighter when we share it.
Yeah, true.
My dad and I had a very complicated relationship. He was an alcoholic. He left our family. When my sister died, we lost my dad because he didn't know how to handle grief as someone with, you know, such mental health issues and addiction issues. So we really lost him then when my sister died. And I am so grateful to my dad. He wasn't a great dad, but I am so grateful he gave me this life. So
Can I ask a question,
Steff?
Steff? How important is forgiveness then?
I mean, I don't even know if I call it forgiveness. I call it radical acceptance of my dad's soul experience.
Right on.
Oh, that's a good way.
I
of saying it,
radically
isn't it?
accept. I radically accept that he chose to come here and to be an addict and to be the type of dad that he was. And I accept that he was that so that I could be all I am.
That's the secret.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really
So I'm
great way of
grateful.
hearing that, Steff.
And I'm grateful, she says.
Yes.
Now, see,
yes.
So grateful.
that's positive, not holding on to those negative thoughts, how imperative that is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, you've
Yeah,
created
so-
a beautiful
Yeah,
family
so
yourself.
important.
You've been married for how long, and to the same lucky man, and you've got 2 beautiful kids. How long have you been married
Something
for,
you
Steff?
pictured.
Yeah.
Is he a high school
I-
sweetheart or something? Or what's the
Well,
tell us
we
the,
met
tell us the
when
goss.
he was 11 years old and I was
Whoa.
15. And he tried to kiss me at a block party. His brother was dating my sister at the time, and that's why he was around. And he was like, "You're it for me. You're the one for me. I'm into you. I want to be with you." And I was like, "Who's this 5th grader?" I was in high school. And he was so tall and so charming and, you know, pursuing me, which no one else was at the time. And I said to him eventually, I said, "You know, you'll make a great boyfriend in about 10 years. And he said, "Will you wait for me?" And I thought, "Oh, yeah, right. Like that's not," and he said, I'll come for you in 10 years and you better be ready for me." And 10 years later, when he was 21, I was 25, we ran into each other at a bar. And he said, "Why did your boyfriend let you come out looking so good?" And I said, "I don't have a boyfriend." And he goes, "No, a girl like you always has a boyfriend." And I said, "Well, I don't right now." And he goes, "You know why you don't? Because you never gave me a chance."
Oh.
And he goes, "It's been 10 years. So what's up?" And I was like, oh my God, is this really even happening? And I thought it would be a fun summer fling. It was a fun summer fling that lasted 10 years. And we got married on the 10-year anniversary of our first date.
Oh, and how long ago was that? So how long have you
17 years ago.
So what are your tips for a long-term marriage? What do you say to some of our listeners?
It has not been 27 years of bliss and rainbows and butterflies, let me tell you.
It's called life.
That doesn't happen, right? And when you go through decades with someone, you change. And guess what happens to relationships? They fall apart. There's more criticism and complaint than there is appreciation and gratitude. You stop serving each other's needs because they're different now. Our needs were both to go out partying together at one point. Well, now we don't have those same needs anymore, right? Your needs change. What I find is holding the balance between radical acceptance of who this person is and also having the boundaries and standards that you need to maintain. So we hold each other to the highest standards that we can vision for the greatest version of them, right? He holds me to high standards of who he wants me to show up for him as. And I hold him to high standards of the best parent and the best husband he can be. So I think we need to radically accept who that person is while also holding them to the greatest version of who we know they can be.
That's a really healthy, great way of hearing that.
I know I keep coming back to your tips because I just love simple, to the point. They're brilliant. And
I love hearing that.
I know we've
Thank
only
you.
touched on bits today.
The soul
but
happy message, it really is for the soul, isn't it?
100%. And look, one of the words that made me laugh was ants. That really made me laugh. Automatic negative thoughts, is that what it is? That was just cool. Now I'm having ants
let those
today.
Ants take over our life.
Yeah.
But we're in control of the ants.
Yeah.
Have you come out to Australia, Steff? Because I know you're in Bali.
I was just in Bali, and I was going to come to Australia and New Zealand. That was my plan.
Okay.
I love Australia and New Zealand because I feel like this message resonates really well over there with you lovely ladies.
But if you do come, honestly, we'd love to teach you how to surf.
Yes.
We've got two fabulous questions for you too, Steff.
Yeah.
Do you want to start with the first one?
Okay, I'd love to. Steff, if you could share a back fence with anybody on planet Earth, who would it be and why?
I think you already know why. It would be Oprah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
There you go.
Well, I mean, I
Incredible.
am a product of her. Like she,
Wow.
growing up watching Oprah, she planted a seed of belief in me that anything was possible, that we could become something bigger than what we could see in ourselves. I just think she's always been that for me and for so many millions of people. It would be Oprah.
How
for
cool.
sure.
And you know what? She's a living example in what she just turned 70.
She's remarkable.
And she's still sort of like getting into her stride,
She's thriving.
isn't she? So it's talk about with
Yeah.
age not being a barrier.
Doesn't she do?
She is. Well, she's one of the ones that, even though I share the back fence with Didy, I'm kind of lucky.
But we'll be hanging in a branch when you're chatting to Oprah down on the back fence. One more. We're just getting wind up, which is the norm for us. If you had the opportunity of chatting to your 20-year-old self, I'm just wondering what you would say and why.
I would say you don't create what you want or what you need. You create what you believe you are worthy of. And so I would plant the seed of my 20-year-old self of belief and worthiness. Because at 20, I think I was, still really in the throes of like drama and partying and drinking too much and sleeping around. And, I didn't believe in myself like most 20-year-olds don't.
Yeah.
So I would plant that seed of belief and worthiness.
Oh, but isn't that
Getting
beautiful
your
to
power
hear?
back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
getting your
love
power
that.
back.
Love it.
And it's all about planting the seeds. And I
Yes.
tell you what, aren't your children
So
lucky having a
true.
mum like
Yes.
you?
Amazing.
And all our listeners are so lucky. And
Yeah.
I hope that we've sort of introduced you to even more Aussies, because
Yeah.
we know that so many Aussies do adore you. But
we'll put all the info up on our notes. So
that we're so grateful.
Thank
Talk
you.
about with
Yeah.
I'm absolutely so grateful, Steff.
Unbelievable.
That, I'm no doubt that I can't wait to meet you in in the flesh. Well, thank you so much. You've just been a joy. And,
thank you, Steff.
So thank
for
you
what you
guys
do
are
for
a
the
joy.
for the
You're so
world,
good
for the
at this.
human
Thank
race.
you.
So for
Thank
all
you.
our listeners, and thank you all for listening too. And don't forget to rate and review. And I think this is going to be worth a lot of stars. We always ask for
love
ratings,
it.
Steff. And I don't know. What about
We're going to shoot
There's
for
a lot
the
of stars
stars.
behind her.
She
Yes,
is a star.
yes.
True. Shining star.
I think aim for the stars 5,000.
I think so.
Yeah.
5,000.
Out of
Yeah.
5, absolutely. Aim high.
Yep.
Aim high.
Yep.
Not how, just believe.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Just believe.
Believer.
Yeah.
We're a believer.
Yeah, you're a great
Thanks
influence
for listening,
on me.
everyone.
Thanks,
and
Steph.
we'll be back in your ears next
Bless
Monday.
you all. Ciao.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye. Mwah.